All right, it's that time. Hit 1,000 miles a couple days ago, and I'm going to do my full review, pros and cons, and would I buy it again. Now, this truck does have more more cons than I would like it to, but hopefully in the near future, once I start the build and start to add to it, they can really level out, if not just go away. I will say I do have lots of plans for this truck, but currently in college. I'll be graduating in May, so I think that's when I'll really start putting the time into it. As of right now, that's my main priority, is just finishing school, so we'll see how that goes. Now, in the 2 weeks that I've had it, it's been great. It drives really smooth, no issues whatsoever. It feels great on road as well as on gravel and off-road. Feels pretty good. Haven't done too much to it. This off-road suspension that it comes with is pretty good. Definitely will not be keeping it in the long run. Probably put some Icon or King suspension on it. Overall, it looks amazing. I love everything, every detail about this truck, even though I'll be changing a lot of it. Front grille, still debating on a couple things. Putting on the TRD Pro grille with the light bar. I will be changing the actual front bumper itself with a winch and probably the CBI or Rego front bumper. Of course, I'm getting wheels and tires here pretty soon, hopefully in the next month or so. These steps are going bye-bye. Don't know what I'm going to replace them with yet, though. We'll see. And the rear looked great. I have no issues with it whatsoever. I will be changing out the rear bumper to a steel bumper from Rego. That's if that's how you say it. I'm not entirely sure. Now, I do really like the exhaust tip. I think it looks really good. I don't think I'm gonna get the exhaust dump, only because I just like the way this one looks. And I was gonna go with the night top recovery hooks that were red, but I mean, this one already comes with them and they look really good. I will in the future be getting a bed rack. This will become a overland build. Gonna go camping in the future. I will be going to places like Colorado, Utah, Washington to go camping and off-roading here in the future. Start the real YouTube channel off. I'm really excited about that. Now, there are no real cons to the exterior. Let's put this in. I love the interior of this truck. It looks amazing. I doubt I'll do anything to it. I mean, this thing is awesome. There are some issues, of course. For one, the heated seats, or sorry, heated and ventilated seats. My issue with it is, one, air only comes from here and here, not where most of our body is actually touching, where all of our heat is generated, which is in the rear end. And honestly, I don't think the pumps that are doing the AC are strong enough. I have a 40-minute drive to work and home every day, and I will say that after a minute or two, I do not really feel the AC anymore. Another con about this truck is the seats itself. It's probably because it's a brand new truck and I haven't really beat them in at all, but they are a little uncomfortable over time. In the mornings, my drive at 5 a.m. it's pretty clear, so it's only a 25-minute drive, but on the way home, rush hour around 3:34, it gets uncomfortable after a while. And it's great to have a lumbar support, adjustable, everything, but it's just, I don't know, they're a little firm. My last vehicle was a smaller, sporty car, so it had a bucket style seat that was cloth, and it really, really hugged me tight, and it just felt great. This one's a little bit wider. It feels great for the first, 20 minutes, but in my opinion, it's just, I don't know. I think I just have to really put in the time to actually be sitting in this seat. I guess another con I can really put on the list would be just the little overwhelming amount of technology. My last vehicle was pretty base model. I didn't have all that much. I only had like maybe a back button and forward button, a call button, up, down, and honestly just traction, or not traction, whatever this thing's called, I forgot, I'm going blank. I will say this truck feels a little ridiculous with the alarms and security steps, and it's just honestly feels like Disneyland. They'll do a million strap downs, million seat belts until you can go, and it's a bit much. The amount of alarms this truck has, amount of options and customization, it's great when you need it, but I just had to turn off a ton of alarms, especially the automatic parking brake. I mean, it was freaking out when there was no issue at all. And you know, there's just way too much. Overall, I have to get used to it, of course. It'll be great. You know, these are very smooth. These feel great, you know. The screen itself, you know, I was specifically looking for this when I bought the truck. I don't regret it. I don't. It's just a lot. It's really, really eye-locking, I guess you can say. If I'm trying to reverse, and I'm used to using mirrors, you know, the basics, and maybe just a basic reverse camera like this one. That's what I'm used to. But when the screen is this big and I'm going back and forth between the mirrors, my eyes will lock onto this, and it'll mess me up the flow of just reversing, especially when there's just so many cameras. I mean, this thing, I tried it. I almost hit a car, and it was just pretty bad. It's great. I'm sure BMW does a great job at it, considering they've been doing it for years. But for first year, that is just, no, it's just not. I don't use it at all. I don't use that. I rarely use that, but this is the one I trust, only because it's been around long enough. Including the actual mirror, I don't use the camera. I don't like it. I like to be able to just look back and look at things that I need to look at. Another con, I would say, would be this right here. I tried to set it up. There's a whole app that clearly is not it's not easy to use. I figured out how to set it up. I just don't use it all that often. I'm probably going to set it up soon. I don't know. I will say I'm having some issues with the JBL speakers. If that's plugged in, then music will only play from that. But when it's out, everything else will play. And that is off. But when I plug it in, it automatically turns on, and it just only plays from there. I will be taking it back to the dealer, that's for darn sure. I just have to find the time to do that. Other than that, I mean, it sounds fine. I will say for, a JBL speaker, how much they promote it, it does not sound great. If I'm playing YouTube music, if I'm playing, let's say, a TikTok or something, or an Instagram, it sounds scratchy. It sounds like the speakers are super old, and I don't know. I have to also get that checked. I don't know if that's just me. I haven't seen anybody really post anything about that. So, I mean, it's really, the biggest complaint I have is just the audio. Everything else I have to get used to, obviously. It's just a lot coming from a sporty car that was mostly just about performance rather than entertainment and luxury, which this is all the above, obviously, but it's just coming around to everything at once, if that makes sense. Plus, my last car, I mean, obviously low to the ground, this is lifted. Aftermarket parts are completely different, still figuring all that stuff out, what I want to do first. Also, especially with tires, bigger tires are a little new to me, because I'm used to thinner, tighter tires, performance tires, street tires, but now I have to go with off-road. There's a million different kinds, on-road, off-road, hybrids. versus, you know, season, all seasons and street. That's all I'm really used to. So I got to figure all that good stuff out. If you guys have any ideas on what kind of wheel setup I should get, or, you know, tire sizes, then hey, I would love to hear it. I'd love to get some opinions. I am probably going to go, I don't like 35s. They're a little too big for me. And, you know, honestly, the gas mileage isn't as great as I thought it was going to be. I hear people are getting like 25 out of it. That's great. I'm only getting 18. I'm not really heavy on the gas pedal. And I've seen some YouTubers and people on Instagram say with 35s, they're still getting 18 miles to the gallon, which I find very sketchy because that's what I'm getting with, you know, the small tires that it comes with. So that's definitely something I'm skeptical about, especially when I get the wider tires. I am not entirely sure just yet, so we'll see once I get them. I know I just did a lot of, I guess, cons, but I wouldn't consider most of them cons. Mostly just the issues that I'm having with audio would be the big cons. You know, the screen's a little big. I have to get used to it. I will eventually. For putting, you know, 1,100 miles, 1,200 miles in the first 2 weeks of owning this truck, you know, it is a lot. I do travel for work a little bit, so, you know, I am going to get familiar with this truck very quickly. And, you know, lots of plans for the future. I would appreciate it if you guys wanted to come along the journey with me and, you know, get y'all's opinions and, you know, things you think about the truck. Would you get one? Do you have one? What you plan to do with yours, just so I can get some ideas as well. I am out in Dallas, so I will say there's not a lot of off-roading to do, considering everything around here is just city. So I have to travel probably like an hour and a half to see any sort of off-roading that's actually legal. So for those of you that have, you know, a lot more experience than me, love to get some opinions, advice, you know, some things you've worked through. And then, hey, maybe I'm not alone with audio or, you know, having no idea about the truck itself. So really appreciate some expertise. The final question is, would I buy this again? Yes, I 100% would. Definitely. This truck is awesome. Performs very well. I would definitely buy it again. I even though I did test drive, you know, the Canyon, the one from GMC, whatever that thing's called, as well as the Ford Ranger, which I didn't drive the Raptor only because if I was going to get a Raptor, I'd rather get the TRD Pro. That's just honest opinion. So I drove the XLT, you know, Ranger. So, and it was okay. It was, I will say, a little bit more comfortable than this, but it didn't have the leather seats. It had mostly cloth. So, I mean, can't really do much there. The driving experience was okay. Nothing special. But this is definitely the best bang for your buck, even though it is pretty pricey. But then again, this is the cheapest this truck will ever be. So, you know, it's always going to get more expensive from here. Got to enjoy it while we can. So yeah, definitely would buy again. I do recommend the truck. I will say I test drove this truck. I think it was a Sport or an SR5, but when it first came out, I did not like it at all. Honestly, I was so excited to get this truck. I test drove it, and honestly, I didn't want the truck anymore, and I just stopped thinking about it for a couple months. And then I honestly started following some people, watching, you know, a bunch of social media, things you can do to this truck, the possibilities, and I decided to give it another chance. Definitely a better experience with the TRD off-road than all the others, 100%. Personally, it's a night and day difference for me. I will say those are a lot more affordable, and with the money that it would take to jump up to the next levels with the off-road, the Trail Hunter, the Pro, you can probably put that money to get better performance parts than they do and save a little bit. But when it comes down to it, I mean, we're eventually going to trade these trucks in, or cars in, so might as well get the best of the best to hold its value. So that's the way I see it personally. So I definitely would recommend this truck, 100%. I enjoy every second of it. Almost every second of it. It's always something, but that's just life now. So, but yeah, I will say over the next couple months, I'll do little knickknacks here and there, maybe some little, you know, LEDs, you know, some Baja designs, you know, amber lights, not sure yet. Of course, the bigger stuff is definitely on its way to come. Headlights, wheels and tires, bumpers, winches, racks, roof rack, everything. And we will go on plenty of adventures soon once I graduate. So I'm excited, very excited for that. Yeah, hope you guys can, you know, tag along, help me with my build. I heard YouTube pays well, so hopefully I can get to that point. But yeah, appreciate a subscribe, like, other way around, doesn't matter. Yeah, thanks guys.